I'm joined now by Mal Fletcher, the futurist, social commentator, and chairman of 2030 Plus. We're talking today, Mal, about all things AI, artificial intelligence, because the National Cybersecurity Centre has just issued a warning that the rollout of AI across the board will make it, in their view, a lot easier for people to get involved in cybercrime. And they're particularly flagging up ransomware, saying that a lot more people will be able to do this a lot more effectively using AI. What's your initial response to this warning?
Well, Dave, good to be with you, first of all. Most technologies that are capable of doing great good in the world are also capable of doing great harm, aren't they? I mean, that's true with nuclear energy, it's true with genetic engineering, and it's certainly true in the world of AI and machine learning and all that comes from it. But you can see how the AI revolution will also lead to a massive increase in things like deepfake videos. Generative AI apps can build convincing, realistic videos from text and images now. And you can imagine there's someone in your workspace who really takes a dislike to you for some unknown reason. It's relatively easy for them using AI apps to damage your reputation by, say, creating a video or an audio file that shows you doing something you wouldn't normally do. There's the issue of phishing, which I think the NCSC has touched on. AI makes it possible for people with no criminal experience to engage in theft and ID fraud. And phishing, of course, is the use of false personalized information to get out of you data that can be used to build a false identity or even steal your identity and empty your bank account. So, yeah, I think they're right to warn us of these things. There are steps, though, we can take to at least mitigate that a little bit.
And when it comes to particularly the cybercrime element of AI, we've heard in recent months, haven't we, all sorts of things about threats to jobs, as you're talking about, deepfake sort of issues. When it comes to this, criminals getting involved using AI, does it boil down to the fact that there are still simple things, because the human is often the weakest point in that chain, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. There are things that we can do to help ourselves be protected against intrusions. And I think the NCSC's point, isn't it, is that everyday people can get involved with crime using AI. People who wouldn't normally dream of becoming a hacker or a cyber stalker can do just that because AI makes it so quick. There are some steps, yes, that we can take. One of them is simply patching up, which simply means to keep our computer security systems up to date, including, by the way, those systems that are running things like Alexa, which are part of the Internet of Things. We sometimes forget these are sending and receiving messages from the Internet all the time, so they need to be secure. We need to develop stronger passwords, using less predictable information, using combinations of numbers and symbols and letters, for example. AI can actually help us do that with certain apps. And we need to be careful what we read. If you get a letter from your bank via email or messaging and you open it, it looks a little bit suspect, don't click anything within that message. In fact, don't click before you check the full message, including the email address itself, because it's often not correct. And if you're in doubt, just delete it altogether. I think one other important thing, Dave, is to keep a critical eye online. Don't give AI the benefit of the doubt. I think people need to be wary of stories, and we've all read them, that just don't ring true based on what we already know. We need to make sure that we're in the loop with the news so that we can make an informed judgment about what is fake news at a glance. And we need to fact check what we read, especially if something sounds a little bit too good or too bad to be true.
Is part of the problem with this, Mal, actually human nature? Have we come to see the internet as just as reliable as we would have seen reference books back in the days when we were all going to those to find out our information? And is that leading us down all sorts of rabbit holes when it comes to the proliferation of information online?
Yeah, I think it is. And one of the downsides of the digital revolution is exactly that we come to trust technology too readily without asking who owns this technology and what do they hope to gain from it. So while techno kings, the owners of the 4 or 5 big tech companies that drive so much change online, will tell you that they're doing it for altruistic reasons, basically the bottom line is money. The bottom line is data, which is money. It's their bread and butter. So anything that they're doing is designed to generate data. And we have to be constantly asking the question, what do these people want to get from this? They're not doing it for humanitarian reasons alone. They're primarily about looking after their shareholders and answering to their boards. And that means making a profit. So as long as we keep that in mind, I think we'll be fairly sane in what we do online. Once we forget that, we allow the line between human and tech to be blurred a little bit too much.
And that profit motive, is that also true for people who aren't techno kings but do have big followers on whatever platform we choose to name? Those who are putting together these videos, these memes and gifs, these lists of things you need to know, they're monetizing that, aren't they?
Yes, they are. And if they're not monetizing that directly, they are indirectly using it to promote their reputation in a way that can be monetized. So, for example, there are people who've been so-called influencers on social media, and I think a better word for it is salespeople. They're often not really influential except by virtue of doing commercials and making money that way. But some people will use what they do online and the number of followers to leverage a career in, say, the mainstream media, or what some people derogatorily call it, the legacy media. We need to make sure that we keep those motives in mind, that we don't just go into tech thinking, because I use it every day, it is trustworthy. There's someone who's a human being is making something of this and making something from this. Again, I think if we keep that in mind, we'll be a little more careful about what we actually put online and how much we trust what we take online.